What is going on, everybody? Schematically's here with another Flight Sim DCS World video for you. Today I wanted to talk briefly about some changes that I'm making to my Flight Sim setup. So I recently picked up a Thrustmaster Warthog HOTAS, which, as many of you probably know already, is a replica of the U.S. Air Force's A-10C HOTAS. And therefore, I'm going to take up this A-10C and check out some of the different functionalities and some multi-weapon engagements here. I think we've got some MAVs. I just wanted to show that the APU start switch works. You can obviously do that with a keyboard, but it's pretty cool because here it's actually mapped to the HOTAS. So we've got both TV and infrared Mavericks, and then we also have some GBU 38 JDAMs and some GBU 12s, and we might do some strafing passes as well. So don't have my comms set up yet, so I'm still using the clickable menus. But so far, setting the thing up has been pretty simple for the A-10. All you really have to do is plug it in. I did download Thrustmaster's target software. So picked up our taxi clearance here.
Enfield 1-1, clear to taxi to runway 3, path 2.
And we're taking off from runway 3 right today. So we'll get it going. So we'll suck up the flaps to the maneuver position here. Which is also mapped to the HOTAS, pretty cool. Throttle quadrant, I guess. So holding short of 3 left, gonna arm the ejection seat, and I just wanted to show I forgot to turn on the AC in the radar altimeter, so did that on the throttle quadrant. And now we're gonna pick up our takeoff clearance here.
Enfield 1-1, request takeoff. Enfield 1-1, you are cleared for takeoff when ready. Climb 300 at QFE 28.02.
Crank down the QFE. And we'll take the active. But overall, so far, my impressions of this HOTAS, immediately when you put your hands on it, you can tell that this is something of higher quality if you're coming from a lesser stick, I guess. I was using a Cytec X52 Pro, which is by no means a bad HOTAS. It served me well for 4 or 5 years now. But it's plastic, and when you touch the Warthog, it's all metal construction. It really it reminds me of the kind of whole mouse and keyboard dilemma. You spend however much for a semi computer, and then some people will spend $50 on a keyboard and mouse or less than that, and don't pick up a quote unquote good monitor. And because of that, their experience is somewhat diminished because those components are how you directly interface with the computer, right? So it very much alters your perception of the quality of the experience. And it's the same thing with the Warthog. When you put your hands on that thing, it feels like a real flight stick. It's got serious heft to it, serious weight, and you feel like you are sitting in the cockpit of an A-10. I don't know that necessarily means that it's worth the cost. I think functionality-wise, is it a game changer? Not really. I would say that you can do everything that you can do on the Warthog with the X52 or another flight stick. You may have to augment some switches on the keyboard, which is what I've had to do in the past. But that is one thing that the Warthog does have going for it. It has all the cool switches, the China hat switch, the CMS, the DMS, the TMS, and they're all right there. So you can do a lot without taking your hands off. So setting up our MAVs here, waiting for our targeting pod to kick on. We've got some APCs at our steer point 5. And as we climb out here, we'll switch over to air-to-ground mode on the T-pod, and with the HOTAS soy, we'll go over to waypoint 5, and then we'll slave the targeting pod over there, and we go through white hot and black hot, see if we can see anything. And it appears at this point that we're too low, so we'll just continue to climb on up until we actually can see something. So going through the GBU12 profile page here, I'm trying to set up auto glazing, and taking a look on the right MFD, we can now see those APCs. So I haven't done this in a while, and I set up auto laze, but then I forget to actually set up a laser time. And as you know, if you don't set up a laser time with auto laze on, the laser doesn't actually activate. So I actually end up wasting one GBU12 before I figure it out, and then I'll fix it on the profile for the second one. So yeah, we'll continue to climb on up here. Want to deploy these from 15,000 feet plus. So going ahead and setting up this first APC is our SPI target point. Decided we're actually going to take a look in there with a MAV instead, because I'm a little bit bored waiting to get into CCRP range for this GBU12. So realize I've got a TV MAV here, and I've had some issues with TV MAVs with the Warthog actually. So I'll switch over to the IR MAV, and the reason for that is because the slew control on the Warthog is really, I don't want to say bad, but it's not good. I normally, I had run out of switches on my X52, so I was actually using the numpad on my keyboard with my right hand to actually do the slew control. And I actually find myself reaching for that fairly often because the slew sensor is so kind of squishy. It's not very precise. You can see I'm kind of struggling with it here to actually get that APC column locked up. And I understand this is actually a pretty well-known issue. So there are a lot of people who actually replace that slew knob with a better one, an aftermarket one. So as we rifle on the second APC in that column there, decide not to take another MAV shot, and we'll just we'll try and get up to date on all our weapons deployments here. So we're still looking at the first APC on the targeting pod. Think about going to look at the second one, but we'll just decide we'll set up for the GBU12 drop instead.
Warning, autopilot.
So I'm actually doing quite a few changes to my sim setup, and I'll probably make a video on my my sim pit after those are done, because I don't think I've ever actually done one of those. So I like to show kind of what I'm using, my computer specs and all that. As we see that MAV take out that second APC in the column. First one's trying to run away, but we got him on point track, not going anywhere. So here comes the Pipper, and the GBU12 comes off, but the laser never engages, and it ends up, probably taking out a cactus. So we'll sort that, and then we'll re-engage with another GBU12. Very rusty in the A10, but kind of figured this would be a good place to start with the Thrustmaster Warthog HOTAS. So I'm still very aware of it, meaning I guess when you get very used to your HOTAS setup, you know, you're not really thinking about it. It's not really something that you're even aware of. You don't think about what switches you're having to reach for, what knobs you're turning. You just do it, right? You feel like you're part of the setup. Or the setup's an extension of you. So I figure out here that I have to set up the laser timing. Get that sorted. But probably my methodology is going to be to, you know, I think I've got the A10 more or less figured out at this point. I can do everything that I used to be able to do with the X52. So I'll probably move on to the Hornet next, and make sure that I can replicate all the air-to-ground, air-to-air functionalities there, and then move over to the Viper in Falcon EMS. So I'm going to keep my X52. I love that thing. Very sentimental about it at this point. So lots of hours on that stick. It's still a perfectly good stick. The other thing about the Warthog is, because it is so heavy, you know, it's like a 15-pound trigger pull, which is like, you know, very, very heavy. You have to really depress that trigger. Like if you shoot someone with this HOTAS, you meant to do it. There's no accidents. So for, you know, games like Elite Dangerous or whatnot, where it's a little bit kind of, you want a lighter trigger, lighter controls, you don't want to work out, then that X52 is going to continue to serve me. So we got the second GPU away here, and you can see that the laser just kicked on in auto ways. So that's working right. And that APC has just moments to live here. And he's dead. So for the next shot here, we're gonna use GPU 38. And, you know, kind of having come off the Hornet, where we just got the lightning pod, Hornet's getting there now, but it really kind of makes you appreciate the sensor package fusion of the A10C. It's really astounding how well integrated this thing is. So rolling in here for our GPU 38 drop. And JDAM away. And we'll follow it in. Set up the autopilot on the throttle clock. Dead. So 1 to go. And initially, kind of thinking, you know, maybe I'll go with a Maverick to get this guy locked up here. You can see I'm really struggling with this slew control. So I'll probably keep my, you know, numpad set up on my keyboard just in the event that I need a little bit more precision. I'm not sure if I can maybe control that with the curvature settings in the axis tuning menu, but I don't know. I have to play around with it some more. So yeah, I got the TV Mav dialed up here, and then think better of it and go guns on the master mode switch, and we're gonna do some pilot stuff and roll in and strafe, stalling all the while. So looking at the detail on the UFC up there, it really is kind of remarkable. The graphical fidelity of DCS coming off of Falcon BMS, it's very apparent how much better DCS is graphically. Alright, so he's in range now. So pulling down on that very, very heavy, satisfying trigger on the Warthog.
Pull up, pull up.
Ignoring that pull-up cue. And somehow, that APC is the luckiest son of a gun in the world, and he managed to dodge every single round out of that GAU.
Pull up,
which is good for him. So we'll dump some flares with the CMS here. Don't have to take our hands off the stick. And I'm going to decide to go with a TV MAV shot from incredibly close range. Not really concerned about tactics or procedures or anything here, just kind of trying to kill this APC in a hurry. Just messing around, if you will. So rolling in for this MAV shot. You can actually see I do get him locked up. And my range is low. It's short range. Very, very nearly the minimum engagement range of the MAV. And I'm struggling with the slew sensor. And in just a second here, I'm gonna slave back to the SPI and switch to my numpad control. There we go. Alright, and I'm using the number pad now. You can see how much more precise it is. Lock and rifle. And we were actually in range. We weren't, you know, below the MAV's minimum engagement distance here, but for some reason it sails long. Just doesn't even attempt to track. So that's the world's luckiest APC down there. He's dodged a GAU strafing run and a TV MAV at this point. So I'm pretty indignant here. So I'm directly overhead, and I just decide I'm going to go to guns and take him out. It's only got so much luck, it's got to run out sooner or later.
Warning, autopilot.
So we're going to roll in on the highest angle strafe ever attempted. And very nearly slam into the ground here. Put my pipper on that.
Pull up,
MAV bore
pull up.
sight, or MAV indicator. Ooh.
Altitude, altitude.
6 Gs. The A10 to not have a CFIT. I'm gonna invert.
Pull up, pull
And
up.
that's it. So 4 for 4 on the day. We did waste quite a few weapons, but again, point of this video mostly just to kind of, you know, give you my initial impressions on the Warthog HOTAS and get used to using it in different employments. Like I said, I am getting better. So we'll go ahead and fence out here, and then we'll head on home. Alright, so having pick up or having talked to Nellis approach at least, we've set up our ILS here. So we're coming in, overshot the localizer a little bit, so we're coming back into 2-1 left. Go ahead and put up the indicators on the actual HSI. And we're way above glide. That's okay. Pretty clear day. Yeah, I kind of missed the A10. It's very, very liberating to kind of come back to my roots, and this was the first, you know, airplane that I ever really, or the first airplane in DCS at least, that I ever really got tuned to. Played campaigns in, you know, learned well. and it's a good one. It is a good one. So if you've got, you know, however much, $30 that you want to spend on a fully fledged module,
Cleared for visual. Contact tower.
hard to go wrong with this one.
In field 1-1. Request landing.
We don't get our landing clearance initially. Use that gear warning silence on the throttle quadrant. Very satisfying to push. Not really sure
In
why
field 1-1. Request landing.
it's there, to be honest, when you can just kind of reach up and press the master caution button. Maybe you can't.
Runway 21.
But why make the gear warning so loud or so long? I don't know. You have to put a dedicated button in to silence it. I'm sure that there's some one who's better acquainted with the Warthog who can tell me why that is. Shooting past the racetrack. Landing lights are on. Coming in at a bit of a steep approach angle, but we'll flatten it out here. Thanks to the people who commented on my Falcon BMS video from a couple of days ago. I did get some support for the condensed format, so I appreciate that. So doing it again for this one, I think I will stick to. I think I'll mix it up. I think I'll continually just kind of do some, you know, shorter and longer form stuff. Maybe we'll post both if people are interested in seeing the long stuff, because I know, you know, like streaming, right? A lot of people just want background noise. And this doesn't give you as much of it, but I think for people in a hurry, this is definitely better. Although, how many of us are really in a hurry when we're playing Flight Sim right now? A little flare. And we're down. Get the speed brakes out. And one thing that's really cool about this, just kind of testament to the, you know, ergonomics that went into the Warthog HOTAS, the speed brake has a forward position where you're actually retracting the brake that is a hold, and then on the brake extension it's actually a you have to hold it's spring loaded to return back to the center position. So to actually extend the speed brake you have to hold it there, but to retract it you just push it forward and it will stay. And the reason for that is because you will forget to put the speed brake back in on strafing runs and whatnot. So it's much easier to just push that button forward, and that's happened to me countless times. So a little bit of insight into the designer's mentality, how they were synced up with the pilots in that way. What is that, industrial engineering? Not really sure what discipline that would be. But very fascinating stuff. So we overshot the first turnoff, so we're gonna taxi on down to the end of 2-1 left here, and then we will go pick out an arbitrary parking spot and shut her down.
Enfield 1-1. Taxi to parking area.
So having gone through about 3/4 of the shutdown procedure here at our arbitrary spot, turning off everything, turning the cockpit to a cold and dark state. One thing that I did kind of want to show is that the Warthog throttle actually has an idle detent where you can just kind of lift it up over the gate and pull it back, which the X52 did not have. You could set it up for a certain position, but it didn't actually have the physical detent there, and it actually has an afterburner one in the forward position if you do some installation voodoo. So very cool, very impressed with the stick. So anyway, thanks a lot for watching the video. Really appreciate all the support I've been getting lately. Like I said, I'll probably post a SimPit update fairly soon, and there are also some kind of administrative things that I wanted to discuss with you guys, or at least put out there for your consideration. So leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below if you got any questions or comments, and get subscribed for more flight sim content, DCS content, Falcon BMS content, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.